All right, welcome back to another episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. As always, it's Chris right here. I'm Keith. This is Chris. And Alex is out for the evening, but we're going to get into, hard to believe, the last college football pick'ems of the year. But before we do that, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out a lot. It's free to you. Helps us grow the family. And make sure you're dropping some likes and comments on those videos. It really helps us out as well with all the logarithms on YouTube and gets our videos around. So we greatly appreciate that. Like I was saying, we're going to jump into the last college pick'em of 2022. This is going to be the bowl pick'ems. I think we're going to do our standard 10 games.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Chris take over and jump and go into the games, and we'll see how everybody feels.
Yep. Make sure you come back to watch me eat this stupid one chip, because it's going to happen, folks.
One chip challenge.
Yep. As you can see on the screen, our standings. Very unfortunate. Alex and Keith, you've actually kind of blown a lead here a little bit.
I did blow a little bit of a lead, yeah.
And so Alex has a chance at winning the league. We'll let Alex make his picks separately, not knowing what we've done here. It'll come out before the video and everything, obviously, because we have one of these games coming up next week, actually. So that's why we have to do this video now.
Oh, well, that's why Alex called up, because he went freaking
9-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went 9-2. So you guys are tied for the lead. Adam's only 2 games back, and I'm possibly going to have 70 wins.
Sucking hind 10.
Possibly win 70 games. I don't know. I might go 0-10 this week. Who knows? So
against everybody else and see what happens again.
Yep. So I'm just going for it. I'm going to see if I can get all of them right this time. So I'm not even going to play the game anymore of trying to go opposite of him and catch up to him. So we're going to start with the very first game. Saturday the 16th, actually, I think is this game. 3 o'clock. Friday the 16th, yeah. So Duluth Trading Cure Bowl. This is actually a top 25 matchup. I think this is going to be the best
This is a really good game. Yeah.
UTSA, who's 11-2, number 25 in the country. Troy, which I think you had in the college league, 11-2, number 24 in the country.
This year.
That was a great pick. Yeah, great pick. So both teams have won their last 5 games, and Troy is actually currently a 1.5-point favorite. This is at Explorer Stadium in Orlando, Florida. So I guess it's technically closer for Troy.
Yeah, in Alabama, just a little bit.
Yeah.
This is actually a really good game. I mean, UTSA has played some really good games. Troy's been phenomenal this year. I mean, they've looked really good all year. I'll jump out there. I think I'm gonna go with the Trojans. I think I'm gonna pick the Trojans for this one.
Yeah, this is tough.
I want you to go. I want you to go.
Yeah, I mean, UTSA has the better offense, clearly. The tough thing, I think, is Troy, for me, has played better competition in the Sun Belt.
That's kind of why I'm going with Troy, just because they have played the better teams.
They played Coastal, they played Louisiana Lafayette, they played Army, they played probably App State as well. So actually, I know they have played App State, and I know they've actually played Marshall too. So I think they've played tougher competition, but I mean, this is a really good offense. UTSA has dominated their entire conference. Of course, UAB was the one game that they had with another tough opponent, and they won that in double overtime too at UAB. So I'm going to take offense. I'm going to take experience. I think UTSA's quarterback's flat out better, so I'm going to take the Roadrunners.
I've ridden with Troy all year in college fantasy. They were pretty much my workhorse this year. And I'm gonna keep riding them. Going with Troy. I want UTSO so bad, but I've been riding with Troy all year.
It's a really tough matchup.
I think going through bowl pick'ems this year, this may have been was like the only one I skipped and had to do.
Yeah, to think
about which one I really wanted.
Yeah.
And I think UTSA, like Chris said, their offense has been really explosive, really good all year. But I think Troy has seen just as good as offenses throughout the year, and has proven that they know how to play defense against them.
Well, and that's like Chris saying, they play stiffer competition coming out of the Sun Belt with Coastal, Marshall, ASU, App State, ASU. They play some stiff competition. So I just feel like Ali or Adam saying Troy's going to kind of just run through this one.
I don't know if it's going to.
Not run through, but they're going to come out victorious.
Yeah. It's going to be a close game, but I do see Troy. I think 1.5 damn wide. I think it's going to be a.
Yeah, Vegas knows something we don't know.
Yeah. Well, staying with some tight lines, we got Penn State at Utah. This is number 11 Penn State, who's 10-2, at number 8 Utah, who's 10-3. Utah obviously coming off that big victory over Southern Cal in the Pac-12 championship, winning the Pac-12
They
championship.
destroyed USC.
Penn State's 2 losses are Michigan and Ohio State, 2 teams in the playoffs. So you got to look at this and say, I mean, Utah is a 2.5-point favorite. This game is at it's the Rose Bowl game, so it's in Pasadena, California.
So you would expect Utah to travel better than Penn State to this, of course, but
This is another tough match too.
yeah. Actually, no, I'm going to take Utah. They are coming off this big win. I think they have played well all year. And Penn State, I think, has struggled a little bit, not a lot, but just enough to lose that big game in being in Michigan and Ohio State. Struggled just a little bit. They've won all the other ones, but in the 2 biggest games to decide whether or not you were going to go to a Big Ten championship, you didn't quite step up to the plate. And I think Utah is going to give them a run for their money and win that game.
I'm actually going with Adam on this one. I actually feel like, for me, the reason I want to take Utah is because they are that Pac-12 champion. And for Penn State, I mean, you look at Penn State for me, and the 2 losses are Ohio State and Michigan, and those are very creditable losses. But you look at the wins, and you're like, I mean, have you really beaten a good team here? You know,
Right.
I may give you Maryland, right? I mean, I may.
Were you pressured at all this year?
Yeah, I may give you a 7-5 Maryland, and that's probably the only other competition I'll give you on this. So, for me, it's just Penn State hasn't won a good team this year, a great team this year, a big team this year, and so you've seen Utah pull it off on the biggest stage in their conference championship against Southern Cal, and they beat Southern Cal in the regular season too.
Right,
So,
gave Southern Cal their only 2 losses.
yeah, so I'm going to go with Utah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to go Utah as well. I think Utah's just played a tougher schedule. I mean, I think they coming off that loss at the beginning of the year to Florida. I think they kind of just turned their season around and played much better football as the season went down the line, and beating USC twice, and like Chris said, showing up in the biggest stage and not only beating USC, but like kind of manhandling them in the second half of that Pac-10 or Pac-12 championship. And just kind of like embarrassing them and keeping them out of the playoff run. So I really think Utah's going to run on this one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that Southern Cal team, they're in the they're in the Cotton Bowl, which is the next bowl game for us. This is a really interesting one for me.
Yeah,
Number 16, Tulane Green Waves, 11-2. They've had such a miracle, great season. They've gone from 2 wins to 11 wins.
To play in USC.
Yeah, won the conference, won the American Athletic Conference, and now they're playing Southern Cal, who's 11-2. Over here in the Cotton Bowl, and number 10 in the country. Southern Cal is a 1.5-point favorite. Obviously, Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas.
This is a tough one.
I know which way I'm going.
You gonna ride the wave?
I haven't picked Tulane the entire season. I've gone against them every single time, and they have won. So I'm not doing it again. I'm going to take Tulane.
So, who's sitting for USC?
I have no idea.
Do we know if Caleb Williams and the pack of receivers are sitting? If anybody's sitting?
I mean, I doubt Caleb Williams can't go to the NFL, so I doubt he's sitting. Unless he's just flat out hurt.
So I would.
He still has a hamstring as of 3 days ago, but that's questionable.
That's fine. I mean, this is New Year's Day, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Or New Year's Eve, one of the two.
Like you said,
This is actually
the Green Wave has been good all year, but they have not seen competition like USC.
This level of competition,
yes.
yeah.
I think USC goes out and wins this game. I think they, you got the.
So they feel kind of shafted.
Well, I don't know. Did Addison win Blitnikoff?
No, Jalen. What's his name from Tennessee won it.
Jalen Hyatt won Blitnikoff.
He won the Blitnikoff.
Okay. Well, either way, you have a last year's Blitnikoff winner out at USC. You have Caleb Williams, who I think is a baller out there, and I think those guys can get it done offensively. And I think Tulane has played really well for this year for them. This has been, like Chris said, a miracle season for them. But I think this is where you see them break here. Like, they've had such a good year, but I think this is the point where you say, all right, now you are seeing top tier talent here. This is where I think USC says, all right, You had a good year, but we're going to take care of business.
Yeah, you're going from seeing, 3 and a couple 4 stars to nothing but 4 and a bunch of 5-star players. I think I'm going to go USC on this too. I mean, I've ridden the wave all year as well, but I feel like USC is going to take this one just because that level of competition is just that much higher than what Tulane's used to seeing.
Okay. Intriguing bowl game. Did want to make sure this was confirmed before we got into it, and Mississippi State's athletic director did come out and say they are going to play the bowl game. So, unfortunately, the no longer Mike Leach-led Mississippi State Bulldogs, rest in peace to a true legend.
The Pirate.
And that actually happened this morning as we're recording this, so it's pretty tough. But number 22 Mississippi State but in the RealQuest Bowl in Tampa, Florida, playing Illinois, also 8-4. Illinois is actually a 2-point favorite in this game now.
Give me Mississippi State. They're going to do it for the Pirate.
Yeah, got to. I mean,
yeah, I'm about to say it. I think
they're going to do it for the Pirate.
Yeah. I think Mississippi State absolutely is going to come out now and play their asses off for Mike Leach.
Yeah.
In the season on a good note for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Tulane's a good team. Brett Bielema, cool guy. Was in the
Illinois.
Illinois. What did I say? Syracuse.
No,
Tulane.
I'm putting orange teams together over here, but
It's gonna be Clemson and Tennessee next.
they're in this.
I know they're in here,
so, but yeah. But I mean, there's not a thing you're probably going to do on that field to stop what Mississippi State's going to bring. So.
Yeah, they're doing this for Michael Leach.
I was gonna say the under this game when I first saw these two teams come together, and at 31.5, I still almost want to take the under this game.
Hammer the under, baby.
Kentucky and Iowa.
Yeah, 7 and 5, not number 7. 7 and 5 Iowa Hawkeyes, 7 and 5 Kentucky Wildcats.
I think Kentucky.
I would say disappointing seasons for both these teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Kentucky came in with a lot of hype preseason, and like you're saying, it's just been underperformed all year. Underperformed all year.
I mean, yes, they held Georgia to 16 points, but how much of that was Georgia just playing ball control?
Yeah.
So I mean,
you lost to Vandy,
and you lost to us.
And well, then you look at Iowa. All you had to do was win a ball game to play in a Big Ten championship, and you lose in Nebraska.
Yeah,
because they can't score a friggin' touchdown.
Yeah, they're averaging 97 rushing yards a game.
They can't score a touchdown.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that Iowa is the favorite here, with as much offensive struggles as I think they have had this year. I'm gonna go with.
That's got to be their defense that's putting them there.
Yeah, I'm going with. I think I'm going with Kentucky though, and because the offense scores you points, defense can only have so many,
stops,
kick sixes or pick sixes, scoops and scores, whatever.
17 points would be enough to win this ball game.
Absolutely, I think
honestly, 12 points might be enough to win this ball game.
14, 15.
First to break 20 wins it.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
They might be there all day. I like Kentucky. I like Kentucky's wide receivers. And
is Will playing in that?
Will Levis is not going to play, but I like the moxie that their freshman quarterback has. I mean, he went out against Carolina and took some big shots, but still stood in the pocket and delivered passes out to where he needed to go. So I think I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a clean Kentucky sweep probably. I would imagine Alex is going to pick them too, but I'm going with Kentucky, and I think the only reason I'm going with Kentucky is just because I think there may be just
they can score more points than Iowa.
Maybe
you would think.
I mean, Iowa's offense is just so bad. Like they are the absolute worst in college football, Division I FBS college football. So. I got
Carolina can average more than 100 yards rushing a game.
Yeah, so
barely.
Well, hey, we're over it, baby.
Yeah. So I just got a feeling that Kentucky's offense just does enough, and enough may only be 17 points, but they do enough. So,
hammer the under.
Yeah, not on this one though. Crimson Tide, number 5, 10-2, All-State Sugar Bowl versus number 9 Kansas State, 10-3, the Big 12 champions, Kansas State Wildcats. So.
This is a good matchup too.
Alabama 3-point favorite here. A lot of transfers for Alabama. That's the big thing you got to talk about. They're up to like 19 or 20 something.
They lost a bunch. They lost a bunch of their O line. They lost a bunch of receivers. They lost their running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing they have is Bryce Young, and hell, he might even play.
Yeah. So
I'm about to say, to be honest with you, with as much that offensive prowess that Alabama usually has, you just saw all of it walk out the door after you didn't make an SEC championship. I'm going to take the upset here and pick Kansas State.
You literally did see everybody walk out that door.
You saw a lot of talent. Now, I can't tell you which of those guys were all, whether they were all starters or backup, other than like the one left guard. I know.
Yeah, the left guard who was the starter for the last 3 years.
Yeah, didn't allow a sack this year, is transferring out. Like you said, a 4-star running backs transferring out. You had several other 4-star linemen transferring out. So you got to think that is going to hurt the continuity, the consistency of that line and the relationship, or how whatever you want to call it. The continuity of that line has got to be suffering now. You would think.
The only thing that I would like bet against that is it's Nick Saban. He still has his defense. He still has Bryce Young, and Jamar Gibbs is still on that team.
Yeah,
and
McCollum is the other running back that's still.
Is Will Anderson, I guess, still there too?
I think Will Anderson's actually sitting on the bowl game. He's the number 1 overall pick.
So I mean, but
I think he is sitting on the bowl game.
But for as much as we heard about him last year, I feel like he hasn't been talked about as much.
He's had a good season. He's not had the season.
He's not had a stellar season.
Yeah. So I would. I'm going to roll the dice here. I just don't like to bet against Nick Saban, and I think Bryce Young's an extremely talented quarterback. Obviously, he's a Heisman Trophy winner from last year. So I think Kansas State played some good games, won some good games, won the big game by doing the right things to win the game. I just don't know that they can. I don't know that they can beat Nick Saban. I mean, you look at some of the games when Nick hasn't made the playoffs. And
he goes up the point.
Yeah, what he's gone out and done to those teams that they face in those bowl games, and it's not been pretty. So, for me, I'll bet on Nick Saban this time.
I guess it kind of is hard to bet against Saban, isn't it?
He's a hell of a coach.
I mean,
he's probably the greatest ever.
He's the GOAT for a reason.
Yeah, he's probably the greatest coach.
As much as I want to go K-State on this too, I have to agree with you. I have to go Bama on it. I'm have to.
It's probably not a good thing for you. Yeah, you ought to be feeling good.
I think I'll take the underdog here.
Yeah. So, well, this will be a fun one. So, number 21 Notre Dame, they're 8-4, facing our South Carolina Gamecocks, number 19, 8-4 as well. TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, Jacksonville, Florida, December 30th, 3:30. Currently, Notre Dame a 2-point favorite with their quarterback and star player.
Their quarterback gone, their tight end gone, and they lost another player too.
Yeah.
Of course, we lost our running back. We lost all of our tight ends. We only have one tight end going into this game.
Yeah, who's a true freshman wide receiver, actually.
Yeah. No, you still have Atkins.
Oh yeah, we have Atkins.
You have Atkins. You really only have one tight end in this game.
Yeah. I don't know. As much as I want to pick Notre Dame, I'm going to be a homer and pick South Carolina. I think we find a way to get it done. I think it's going to be ugly. And so it's either going to be an ugly win for us, or I think we get blown out. I don't think there's an in-between. So,
yeah.
This isn't going to be one of those Clemson-Carolina games where we squeak by winning by a point. This is going to be more like a Tennessee game.
Yeah, like
we either blow them out or we get blown out.
Yeah, it's either Tennessee or it's Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what intrigues me about this game is we still have Spencer Rattler. You still have Juice Wells. You still have.
Christian Bill Smith.
If Bill Smith plays, but you've also got Amarion Brown. Yeah. You've got the entire defense. I don't think anybody on defense left that was relevant.
I mean, DeCarron Joyner can just come in and win another bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, DeCarron can come in. He can come back and play again next year for all we know.
Yeah.
And with having Spencer Rattler, and I'm really intrigued as to who's going to call this game, because we're going to truly see if Satterfield actually was calling those last 2 games, or if it was, if it's something, if it was like a Justin Stepp or a Beamer coming in and making the decision on these play calls.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the team that still has a couple star players and their quarterback. And so for me, South Carolina right now, Spencer Rattler hasn't entered the transfer portal. There's been a bunch of crap about it with an offensive coordinator leaving. So for me, I mean, I'm going to take the team that has their starting quarterback that has played really good the last 2 games.
Who's confirmed he's going to play in the bowl game.
Yeah, who says he will play in the bowl game. Whether he decides to enter the transfer portal in the next week and a half or 2 weeks, I hope not. But so for me, I mean, it just makes sense. I like Marcus
If he
Freeman.
does, you still got Doty and DeCarrion who are experienced in that offense. So
Yeah. So I mean, their entire offensive weapon basically and their tight end that's going to be a top 20 pick is gone. or sitting out the bowl game. So I got to take South Carolina.
Yeah, like I said,
it definitely intrigues me.
Okay.
It's probably going to come back and bite us in the ass, but
Probably.
you know what?
Yeah, probably.
So this game's going to bite us in the ass.
This game's going to be a lot of fun. My season was ruined by South Carolina Bowl, Tennessee and Clemson.
Yeah, Shane Beamer's my daddy bowl.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that the Capital One Orange Bowl has the two of the top 3 most notable orange teams in the country, probably, in Tennessee and Clemson. So, number 6 Tennessee, 10-2. Number 7 Clemson, 11-2. Clemson's quarterback is in the transfer portal currently. So the freshman,
But Cade Klubnik's better than DJ. So
Yeah,
this is an upgrade for Clemson.
Hendon Hooker obviously done for the year, but Joe Milton could transfer from Michigan, a lot of playing time.
Kid's got a cannon for
a lot of talent, so is in there. Obviously,
is Hyatt gonna play in the bowl game? Did he?
That's a good comment. I don't know actually on that.
Well,
I don't know who sat for Tennessee. I haven't read up on any of that.
Yeah. So if Grant with I think this being your cornerstone of your offense and Jalen Hyatt. If he decides to play, I think that's of course a huge upgrade for Tennessee. If he decides to sit,
They still have a couple,
but I think
it's not Jalen Hyatt. Yeah,
you're looking at a guy who's a 1,200-yard receiver all of a sudden out for the game
with 15 touchdowns over 12 games.
Yeah, so I mean you're looking. Well, and how many was it over
67 receptions?
Yeah. So I mean, but you're looking at a guy who probably who touched the ball probably 10 times a game, all close to it. But or at least 5 times a game.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee's offense gets it done over Clemson's defense. I think Cade has played really well in the snaps that he's played, but you haven't seen him go a full game. So to see him go a full game against, in this case though, is a pretty weak Tennessee defense, this might just be a shootout. And I don't know, whatever the line is on this
6.5 to Clemson.
No, I meant
over under 64.
I would
hammer the over.
I would.
I would too. I mean, I probably actually will end up putting money on that personally, but I'm gonna go a similar reason for Adam, but I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Tennessee has been able to hit the deep passes really well this whole year. I know that's Hendon Hooker, and I know that's Jalen Hyatt, and I know it's Cedric Tillman and the other receivers, but I think a month-long practice here for Joe Milton will really be able to work out some of the kinks in the timing that he didn't have with Vandy, because they tried those deep passes, and he was able to hit everything within 20 yards, but once we got 20 to 25 to beyond, he was overthrowing receivers a little bit. I think there's just a timing aspect of that he needs to work out. When you get a month to practice for a bowl game and you're specifically practicing for Clemson, I think he's going to be able to work that out, and I have faith in him, and I have faith in Josh Heupel's offense to be better than what Clemson's calling right now on defense. And I think the game that showed me this season where a team like Tennessee would beat Clemson and a team like South Carolina ended up beating Clemson was the Wake Forest game, when Clemson just could not stay with receivers if they're playing one-on-one man coverage in a cover 1 or cover 0 set in the defense. And so for me, I was able to watch that game and go, wow, Wake Forest, who's way less talented than Tennessee, especially in the wide receiver category,
is putting up big numbers.
Is hitting every deep pass they want to go for right now. I think Tennessee's able to do it here.
See, my only concern is the lack of. No. I mean, I feel like Clemson will finally will probably will win this game at some point just because it's Clemson. They always find a way to win the game, except for South Carolina. Well, that was just DJ being shitty the entire time. The real X factor in this is Cade Klubnik and what can he do? What can he do with a full month of preparation for this game under Dabo and the offensive coordinator? My only concern is the backbone of Clemson is their defense at this point, and they've lost a couple big pieces on that defense through the transfer portal before within the last 2 weeks. So, like Chris said, I'm going to trust in Heupel. I'm going to go with Tennessee.
You should have pulled the trigger on Clemson. We just see in your face you wouldn't take them.
They're going to come up. They're going to come up with a way to win the game. But
I'm just letting him
soak it. Let it soak it. Let it marinate.
So, all right, final 2
I
games.
can't stand Clemson.
Final 2 games, the semifinals, the Fiesta Bowl, TCU, Michigan, 12-1, number 3 TCU, 13-0, undefeated, Big Ten champion, number 2 Michigan. TCU shouldn't even been in this game, but that's another conversation I'd like to have with somebody. Michigan is a 7.5 favorite in this game.
For as much heart and as much fight as Max Duggan has in him, I don't see TCU getting it done. I see Michigan.
I see this being like the game like Georgia Michigan last year, but Michigan being the one putting the beating on.
Yeah, I think Michigan wins this, and I think they win big. I think TCU has played. They have showed a lot of heart, and they have showed a lot of mental fortitude to try and to get to where they're at. But I think Michigan is the better team here.
You just can't let it go, can you?
No, actually,
you can't let it go.
I mean, you gotta. At some point, somebody has to look at this with enough common sense to say it's not going to be Georgia, Michigan. It's most of the time it's not the 1 and 2 seeds that end up playing.
No, it's not. You're right.
So,
but I think Ohio State has a better chance of beating Georgia than TCU has than beating Michigan.
Okay, that's fair. So, I'm going to take TCU. I love Sonny Dykes. I love Garrett Riley. I love this offense.
We do too. We wish we'd have got it.
I love what they've done already here in this first year. They've won some big games. Did they blow the Big 12 championship? Sure. I mean, they went for it. Like, they went for it on 4th down. They rolled the dice and they said, we want to try and win this game. And the odds didn't fall in their favor.
4 times from the one you can't get it in.
I agree. So, I think Michigan won one game this year, in my opinion. They won the Ohio State game that mattered, the game that they were not favored in.
And then
they won the Penn State game. Yeah, sure. But I'm still not sold on Penn State personally. I don't love that Michigan didn't show us anything in the early season. They played Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. And so for me, I think Michigan may be the more talented team on paper. I just got a little bit of a sneaky feeling here. TCU shows up as the better team on this day and pulls off the upset.
I don't mind that pick at all.
No, I don't mind.
I like TCU. I do like TCU.
I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I'm eating the chip at this point. So
he's already wrote it down for me, but I'm gonna take Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, the final one. It's gonna be Georgia, Ohio State. Obviously, Georgia a 6.5 point favorite currently. Chick-fil-A Bowl. Chick-fil-A Bowl.
A home game for Georgia,
basically in Atlanta. So. C.J. Stroud, Stetson Bennett, 2 Heisman Trophy people. I mean, this is 8 o'clock. New Year's Eve night. Nothing else to it. I'm taking Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah. So, I
think Ohio State has the ability to beat Georgia. I just don't think they can do it.
I don't think there's a team better than Georgia this year in college football.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I was the one that was saying Georgia was not going to be good enough to repeat, and I'm wrong. Georgia's got everything they need to repeat this year. Yeah. All right, we'll do a little special part of this. Obviously, not part of the pick'ems. So, from your picks for the national championship, who are you taking?
I think Georgia repeats for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good for Carolina though, because we profit share, so it's good for us.
Yeah, I think Georgia ultimately beats TCU as well, but it's
Michigan.
No, I think they're going to beat TCU. So
watch this be a repeat. It's going to be Ohio State and Michigan in
that's what they're
the championship. I know that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
It's the exact same reason why they put Georgia and Alabama last year. They did it the way they did it last year to have Georgia and Alabama play again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what they're hoping for. So we'll see.
It ain't gonna happen.
All right, well, that's going to put a bow on our pick'ems for the season. Thanks for the riding along with us each week. We appreciate the support as always. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It's free to you. It means a lot to us. Hit us in the comments. Let us know who you think is going to win some of these bowl games. And as always, hit us in the comments as well and let us know who you think is going to win the national championship. We're doing this pick now. And we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe.